All right, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Chris Alexander. I'm here with a video today to talk about over equalizing your vocals. All right, so this is a problem that I see all the time with, newer engineers, beginners, home bedroom producers, whatever the case may be. And I feel like it's something that's often maybe just, something that's a little overanalyzed, if you will. So in this series, I'm gonna call this the Fix Your Mix series. All right, in this series, we're gonna be talking about numerous things that beginner engineers might need to really lock in with and start with to understand how to grow into something bigger and better as an engineer. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is EQing, subtractive EQing from vocals. All right, so I'm going to make it very simple. I don't want to over explain anything. I want to keep everybody with me. One thing to understand about subtractive EQing is there's multiple areas of your voice, right? And let's put it simple. There's low, mid, high. And then there's, the in-betweens, low, mid, high, mid, whatever. All these things that you look at in an EQ, like let's say the stock 7 band on Pro Tools. You look at this thing and you see how it already has a five bands set up for you to adjust with. Now, the thing about this in particular is a common mistake that a lot of people make is they overdo their EQ. So to put this in a more understandable way for everybody, when you overcook your EQ, basically what you're doing is limiting the amount of fidelity that you can have come out of the audio that you're working with. Like, for instance, if you have a band curve, let's say that's just something crazy, right? Like, let's find something crazy real quick. Let's just skip through it. Like, if you look at, say something for a horn, add fullness. If everything is looking crazy and you got your bands all moved around like this and, you're dipping somewhere. Like, if it looks crazy like this is what ruins it at the start, because you got to understand that the first move you're making in a mix on your vocal is the subtractive EQ most of the time. Right? So if you mess up here and you do too much here, or you do too little here, or you take away too much here, you're gonna fuck everything up, and it's that simple. So I want to put this in another way. Let's have a little vocal example and try to work with it and show how you can easily get a clean vocal off something so minimal. All right, so let's default this. Now let's go look at a vocal section from my song, coming from my album right here. Right here. Let's just play a little couple seconds of this, raw, no EQ, nothing, and then we'll make, decisive moves based on what we're hearing, and I'll show you where to focus on and what you can do to clean things up and get a very clean vocal signal. All right, so let's start.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you?
All right, so we got this little vocal section right here. So one of the first things I notice as an engineer, or my ear tells me, is that in the low end, it sounds a little boomy and boxy. So in this instance, this is a move that you're probably going to make every time with your vocals. And what we call it is high passing. So when you high pass something, I know it sounds crazy, but basically in this section right here, high pass filter, right, you can turn this on and you can go to a certain frequency. Usually for male voices is around 100. Females, it can go upwards to maybe 150-ish. But you can start here by taking out all these frequencies at a certain angle on the EQ. So where we have it at is 100 hertz, right? 103 hertz. So in this instance, what we're doing is we're going to take some of that boomy, boxy, low rumble sound off of the vocal completely, right? High passing it. And what that does is over here, when you do that, it allows the high end that's on this side to breathe, because there's nothing in this end of it that's cluttering up that space for it to live in. You know what I'm saying? So the first move, let's go. Let's play a little sample.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules.
All right, and now let's bypass it and play and see what we really did with that EQ.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
All right, so you see how it almost kind of makes it feel a little more airy. It's light almost. You know, it's something that you don't got to focus on too much. It kind of it gives it its own preserved space, and it lets that high end actually breathe a little bit and sound more natural and crispy in a way. So that is high passing is something that is very important for subtractive EQing. You're gonna do it every time. It's basically just carving space out at certain frequencies where you don't need your voice to be in. You can't really hear nothing down around under 50. So you don't need that stuff. That stuff is taking up space. That's adding noise to your signal that you don't want. So that's why you take it out. So now another fix in this is some people might say, oh, well, I high passed and my vocal still sounds a little muddy. So now the next band, you can go here around the low middle filter, right? And you can take, usually it can be between 200 to 400, maybe 500 the most if you're very like boomy in your voice maybe. But where I like to start it is usually hovering right around 200 and make kind of a wide Q, and then what I would regularly do is make it so where I can drop it maybe a hair or two, maybe 2 dB the most, 3 dB the most. And then this part right here, you see how it kind of has that it's like it's got that dip in it that we don't really want. I want it to feel maybe less tighter. So what I'll do is I'll pull that Q a little more. And I'll give some more space for that high to maybe, or not even the high so much, but where the high middle filter is meeting the high ends, it'll give room to this, right? So if I create space here and I drop this down, I'm making space for kind of over in here, right? So let's play the vocal with this move now.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
All right, so now the main thing you're going to notice is how much clarity comes back into it. So you're kind of dipping around 200, where are we at? 229, and we're kind of getting rid of some more of that muddy water where it's kind of giving that muffly, like that sound, you know what I mean? Like trying to get rid of that. So now we took care of that. Now, this is something that I actually learned from Devon Terrell. Shout out, help me, Devon. It's hard to explain, I guess, for me, but the frequency 890, there is definitely a very weird sound about that frequency to me, for my ear, and I can't really pinpoint what it is. But let's sweep through this vocal real quick. I'm gonna raise the volume of this band, and we're gonna hear what 890 sounds like. Let me go to 890 real quick. Boom. All right, so now let's play.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
All right, so you see how fucking nasty that is? We want to get that out of there. So the thing is, you can only do like a half, 2 dB off it just to get it in there. But this thing that I like to do is I like to squeeze it with the 10Q. Just get it nice and tight so it's almost transparent in a sense. And then we'll play it back real quick.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
So basically, that makes it feel like the mid-range has a little bit of a space where it can kind of smoothen out almost and be a little more sharper in its own cool, transparent way. So now with that move adjusted, what I'm hearing now up in the higher end is a little bit more harshness probably still that we can get rid of to make this a little more smooth. All right, so a frequency that I'll usually start off looking at off bass is probably 3K, maybe 4.2K. Those are the two frequencies in my head that instantly ring for me. If it's more SE, probably up towards 6, something like that. So let's play this audio and we'll sweep down through around 3K to 4K and we'll see what we can do.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
One more time.
Or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from on this pen. How about you?
All right, so my ear is telling me I like 3K better. So at 3K, when I dip it a little bit, what I can hear is it's kind of taking away just that sharp edge from that high mid that I don't really want. And what I could also do is to make that a little bit more transparent and tighter and more compact and give it a little more sharpness back is I can squeeze this Q a little bit, not too dramatically. I'd probably say around 3-ish, honestly, but give it a good dip and maybe drop 1.5, give it some space, and then let's replay it again to hear what that did.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you?
All right, so now at this point, what I'm hearing is a vocal that is absolutely ready to go through a compressor. So the only last thing that I will point out is, and there's two ways you can go about this at this point, and this is really a preference thing. There is no right or wrong way to do this, but it does definitely depend on what you plan on doing down the road with your mix. So the high end. So for the high end, something that you can do in your subtractive EQ and maybe is more ideal is you can low pass and you can take out maybe just some frequencies up top, maybe let's say like 16K the most. And you can get rid of some of that over clarity if you have that going on in that scenario. You know what I'm saying? It's a situational thing. Or what you can do is, in situations like me, how my mic feels for me, I will go to around maybe 8K. I like to start at 8K. And I'll shelf this up just a pinch. Just a little bit. Just to give me some more top end air. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of clean it up a little bit. And depending on the song, like I said, situational, preference thing. You can make this more, straight. You can cue it up a little more. You can control it. So now let's play the vocal with that move, and then we'll play it with the low pass filter to show the difference, and we'll see what sounds better.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you?
All right, with the high filter off, and then we'll go to we'll go to low pass, and then we'll play it.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you?
All right, so personally for me, what I'm hearing is with the low pass filter, it's actually taking off the proper amount of that over clarity that I really want, because I can compress it. And as you know, like for FET compression, when you bring it up, it's going to have some S's that pull up with it. So I like to lean on that to make that slight nudge to give me some of that character back when I take away. Right. And there's always instances, obviously, where you can go in down the chain and maybe use a channel strip and touch things slightly at a real minimal scale and, and adjust it to flavor. But there's definitely two ways that you can do this. And like I said, it's situational. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it sounded before the EQ was on completely. And then I'm going to show you what it sounds like with the EQ that we just built in this video on. All right. So let's play it with the beat. We'll go ahead and we'll play the vocal with no effects.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you? How about you? How about now?
All right, so we got that section, right? Doesn't sound great. It's not terrible, obviously, but it's uncompressed. It's unequalized. There's no effects on it. All right, so now let's play it with the EQ on.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you? How about you? How about now?
Okay, so we got that. It's pretty sorted out. I feel like it sounds very good. It sounds like it fits in there. Nothing's overbearing. The problem frequencies that we knew that we were hearing that weren't great, we got rid of and we took care of. So now what I will show is what it sounds like when the vocals are EQ'd properly and have opto compression after the fact. So let's just turn the LA2A back on. And it's probably going to be loud. I don't know what it's at.
Twisted or confused, I be twisting all the rules. I be sipping just to cool down from all this pain. How about you?
So now you see where you get to this point with the EQ and just compression. It's very simple. I feel like a huge problem is a lot of things get overcomplicated and they're overdone, and sometimes you really need to just sit back and listen and figure it out, the proper way. So in this video, I really hope that I helped out, a lot of people with this, because I feel like it's something that everybody's going to encounter at some point to be an issue. At the end of the day, the biggest thing is EQ and compression are some of the most important factors of your mix, whether you want to accept it or not. It's not always about, the cool effects and, reverbs and all the da-da-da-da-da. Some of it is very much so just simple things that you have to do. And I understand why things like confusion and overcooking happen. There's a lot to look at for these beginners and all that. But at the end of the day, it's very subtle. And that's what you pride yourself in, making subtle moves, making big things happen. So I'm going to wrap it up here. It's been good. I'm hoping that I helped everybody else out. And peace out. I'll be back with another video.